From MTN News, this is Montana This Morning.
It's quite the celebration here at Montana State University, and rightfully so. I'm Annie Johnson, and coming up, I'll tell you 101 million reasons why the university is celebrating.
I'm Dennis Bragg of Missoula. Senator Steve Daines holds a heartfelt conversation with veterans who are worried about the impacts of the fall of Afghanistan.
6:30 on this Tuesday. Chad Lehman, Matt Elwell with you here. The smoke continuing to roll in. Just a reminder that it's still southwest Montana and there's still, thousands and thousands of acres burning around the western part of the United States.
We've been very lucky over the last couple of weeks where things were cleared out. We had a little rain, get smoke, and then it disappear. We're in the midst of one of those smoky times, but
ain't gone yet.
It ain't gone yet. No. Temperatures this morning are comfortable right now, sitting into the 40s. 46 in Belgrade, 36 in West Yellowstone. Cloudless skies, so the clouds aren't really much of an issue for us into the morning, the afternoon, a few passing clouds. Air quality still suffering just a bit as we're starting the early part of the day. It looks like these temperatures should be warming up pretty nicely for the afternoon, 70s and 80s for the area. We'll talk more about air quality and much more in just a little bit.
All right, thank you, Matt. 6:31 now. Two people gave the largest donation ever given to a U.S. college nursing program, and they gave it to Montana State University. Turns out they didn't even go to MSU. MTN's Annie Johnson has more.
It may have been a regular Monday morning for you, but not here at Montana State University.
I feel like I'm getting married again today. I'm so excited.
President Cruzado had millions of reasons to be excited. Mark and Robin Jones, the founders of Goosehead Insurance, donated $101 million to the College of Nursing at the university.
We will be constructing new, expanded nursing education buildings on each of our nursing campuses located in Bozeman, Missoula, Kalispell, Great Falls, and Billings.
5 new buildings, new student scholarships, 5 professorships, and a new midwifery program will all be created because of the large gift. And nursing students agree it's not just about the money.
So we get all this money and people see a dollar sign in front of it, but it's, if I were to need care tomorrow in the hospital, I want the right person to be there, and I want somebody that has had all the opportunities to take care of me. Somebody has to go through training, somebody has to go through school to take care of you, and this is giving so many more people that opportunity.
The two have ties to Montana, but they're not MSU alumni. So it brings the question, why Montana State University, especially as a Harvard graduate?
Harvard, they don't need the money. This is an investment, and we're making the investment because there's great leadership at Montana State, and they brought forward a problem that we were, able to do something about working with them.
This is the largest donation given to a College of Nursing program throughout the country. Reporting at Montana State University, Annie Johnson, MTN News.
6:33 now. Veterans tell Senator Steve Daines that they're disgusted at the chaotic pullout of Afghanistan, and they're deeply worried about the mental health impacts on veterans who served there. MTN's Dennis Bragg has more.
Senator Steve Daines hears firsthand stories of the harrowing escape of Afghan refugees Monday, of the frightening and nearly fatal escape to Montana.
And had he not gotten out, he said the Taliban would have killed him. They killed his wife, killed his beautiful little baby that we just visited with. So as you can imagine, it was a very heartfelt kind of conversation.
The comments as Daines met with veterans and leaders of Missoula International Rescue Committee at the American Legion Hall. Surrounded by the tokens of their service, these veterans from Afghanistan, Iraq, and Vietnam expressed frustration and fear for their military partners left behind, as happened in Southeast Asia.
I mean, if a country can't learn from Vietnam to Iraq to Afghanistan, why do we keep doing the same things over and over and over again? They saved our lives many, many times, and then when we left Vietnam, we abandoned them. We literally abandoned them there, and the NBA came in and slaughtered all of them. They found out who they were and they slaughtered them. So then as a Vietnam vet, that kind of sticks in your craw all these years, and then you see this happening. And the first thing that comes up in our minds is, oh my God, it's happening again. And it's a betrayal. We actually feel like it's a betrayal by our leadership.
That's the real deal. These guys that help out, they, nothing more than interpret for us. They kill them.
The soldiers told Danes of their disgust at what's happened in the past few weeks, including the loss of billions of dollars worth of American military hardware left behind.
And even if they don't want to use our technology, there's people out there that are against the United States that now they can sell that information to. So they just put us in a pot.
But they're also worried about the mental health of their fellow soldiers.
And so these guys coming home now, that we have to get them a message, Senator. We have to tell them that their service was for something. It meant something. They kept us safe for 20 years.
And around the table, a message for Montana to welcome the refugees.
The work they did was invaluable to us over there. They helped keep us alive, but they did it at a much higher risk than any American soldier did, because at the end of the day, the American soldiers went to bed on the FOB. They were protected. These guys went home in their neighborhood, so it's the least we could do is get them out of the country, and then when they come here, we have to welcome them with open arms. We have to treat them like you'd treat a vet.
This is not the last you all have heard about what happened here in Afghanistan. There's going to be accountability, decisions made, why were they made, and heads need to roll.
In Missoula, Dennis Bragg, MTN News.
Now, escaping a war-torn country in a matter of hours is the reality for thousands of families in Afghanistan. Dan Grossman breaks down the complicated process and vetting they go through to find safety in the U.S. as refugees or asylum seekers.
If home is where the heart is,
seeing the humanity in people is critical.
Then consider Jennifer Wilson, the pulse that allows that sentiment to flourish.
I don't think the average person really understands what it is that compels people to leave their home.
In just a few hours, the room she sits in will welcome a mother, daughter, and father from Afghanistan who are here to start a new life.
You think about everything that you need to know to live in a place and build a life there. And so we're really invested in bringing forward a whole array of services and supports to make sure that they're able to get their feet under them.
Jennifer heads the Denver division of the International Rescue Committee, one of 9 national organizations that connects refugees and asylum seekers to local resources. But long before they ever reach her,
there is a palpable sense of relief.
Refugees and asylum seekers first interact with people like Krish Omara Vignaraja, who was at Fort Lee last week welcoming families as they first arrived in the U.S.
It takes a village to raise a child. It takes a village to welcome not just one family, but hundreds.
As the situation in Afghanistan unfolds, there are 3 main types of migrants coming into the U.S. right now: refugees, asylum seekers, and Afghan allies. Each is a slight variation of one another. Refugees have typically begun the immigration process months, if not years, in advance. Asylum seekers show up at a port of entry hoping for freedom, and allies have worked with the United States government in Afghanistan. In each case, the application process is long and complex, as it includes paperwork, interviews, and medical exams, just to name a few.
They go through some of the most extreme vetting of any immigrants who come into this country. Honestly, I think some of my friends wouldn't pass muster when you think about it.
According to a 2016 study by the Libertarian Cato Institute, of the more than 3 million refugees accepted into the U.S. over the last 40 years, 20 have committed an attack on U.S. soil, a testament to the scrupulous nature of that process.
These are people who make our economy stronger, our communities safer. The data has proven that time and time again.
Once a migrant and his or her family is cleared for entry into the United States, they are housed with family and friends or on a military base until their permanent location is determined. That process is handled by the State Department, which will consider a family's contacts in the U.S. and other things that might make for a good fit. According to the State Department, Texas, Washington, and Ohio took in the most refugees in 2018. 20%.
For the average family, I would say we probably end up connecting and referring to maybe 2 to 3 dozen different resources.
That is when groups like Jennifer's get involved, helping families get connected to jobs, schools, whatever they may need. Between October 2020 and June of this year, her group helped resettle 65 migrants, a number they have matched in just the 2 months since.
We know that when people not only make connections within their own community, what we call social bonding, but also experience social bridging by reaching others who don't share their language, their culture, their religion, their nationality, that's when they really start to feel like they're at home again.
In these communities, Jennifer says that can take up to a year or even 2 as these families work to find familiarity, community, heart, and a new home. I'm Dan Grossman.
Story that's going to be repeated thousands of times here over the next few months. Now, I don't always show it that I have any skill doing this, but I love to read. It's true. MTN kicking off our annual If You Give a Child a Book campaign gives a chance for others to love reading as well. We're going to team up with Scholastic and our parent company, the Scripps Howard Foundation. The goal, to give 10 books to each child at a local Title I school. This year we're teaming up with Saddle Peak Elementary in Belgrade and West Elementary in Butte. And we believe if you give a child a book, you give them a chance. Every $5 donated will give a student a book of their very own to take home. If you'd like to make a donation, you can visit our website. Right off the top, you'll see the donate button. If you give a child a book, head over to our website for that now. It's a program we love here at Montana This Morning. 6:40, time to take a quick break. When we come back, Louisiana hurricane could have an impact on everyday lives here in Montana soon. Coming up, learn how it could soon be taking a bite out of your wallet. But first, here's Gail King with a look at what's coming up at 7 o'clock.
Good morning to you. Ahead on CBS This Morning, what can we expect the president to say as America's longest war comes to an end? Plus, see the devastation and destruction left in Hurricane Ida's wake. We'll hear from people who lost their homes and first responders helping with the rescue efforts. Also, with an alarming new spike in COVID cases, doctors are worried about a potential twindemic during flu season this fall. Yikes. We'll tell you how to stay safe. And Grammy-nominated rapper Logic has a new memoir. He'll talk with us about his difficult childhood and his rise to fame. He's doing fine now, he says. We'll see you 7 o'clock straight up.